Welcome, everybody. This is a day trading options daily review for May 6th, 2016. I'm Scott. He's Alan. We're happy to have you along with us. And we're going to be teasing you a little bit. Well, first of all, we look after the programming. I should say Alan looks after the programming. So every time we can think of something new and he can figure out the math behind it, we add it. So we've added a couple things, and we're looking at actually a fairly major upgrade to the whole program through something that he's going to tell you a little bit about, not too much because we're not really ready to full on get it out there, but there's two things that we're going to be looking at before we start our review, because I think both of them are absolutely brilliant, and I only know what one of them is. And so, Alan, welcome to the show. And I want you to start by talking about that black line that wanders across the screen or across the chart. What is that?
Yeah, that's actually what about 3,000 stocks are doing relative, and it's scaled onto the current chart that we're looking at. And scaling has an advantage and a minor disadvantage if you don't know why or what it does, and we'll cover that so that you get only the advantage. But the point is that the market is what most stocks are doing. And if they're all going down or they're all going up, there's probably a really good chance that your particular stock that you want to trade is going to get dragged along by those people and the automated computer systems that people have on Wall Street. There's a bunch of those that will just say, oh, well, this one is a little low compared to the rest of the market, and the computer will just get in there and buy it and hold it for, 5 minutes or something like that. This is what the boys in Wall Street have been doing, is that they're loving this technology era because they're just scooping it up.
Right. So what we're saying here is that rather than having our basket, which before was maybe 30 or 40 stocks, or following what's going on with the Dow Jones Industrial Average, which is, I think, is only like 20 stocks.
30, yeah.
We're going to 30 stocks. We're going to be able to follow what's actually happening with the majority. Now, there's way more than 3,000 stocks, but there's no point to do the overkill. And when 3,000 will give you a pretty good idea of what's going on.
Yeah, and it's actually, it is a bit more accurate, and it's very fast. We're looking at replay, of course, but in live, it's very responsive, and that makes it quite helpful.
Cool. So along the bottom of the screen on the chart, I see purple and yellow.
Yes.
What are they?
Well, we get requests from people sometimes because this is the Volume Genius. Now, Volume Genius by itself is a big help. And so that's what the purple histogram is. But what was happening is there was a fellow saying, can you tell me about something that's getting close to being exceptional volume for that moment for that stock? And so that's what the yellow one is. And of course, you can make it whatever color you want. Oh, yeah, here, just you can make them all the same if you like. It doesn't make sense, of course, but the idea is that if something's getting close to being a really good mover, because when there's volume, it usually moves better. And so he wanted a bit of a warning thing, so you can see it coming up, and then it would switch over to the purple.
Beautiful. Great.
So, yeah.
Another clue as to something that's happening, because we notice volume spikes at the beginning and end of trends.
Yeah, and that works very well on stocks, on weekly charts, and all kinds of stuff. And we've talked about it here. So here is this candle right here. That was the spike, and guess what? That was pretty much the end of it. And so it doesn't always happen, but it happens consistently enough. Like there's another one back here. That you can say, well, that's a good thing to know.
Yep, excellent. All right, so let's talk about May 6th. What happened?
Sure. Now, Fridays sometimes are a little bit quieter. Sometimes they can be really great. I'm going to show you one trade that one bunch of people I know took. And there's this fellow who actually, he helps coach a couple people. And this is the trade that he made, and I'm going to just show you that. It's for this stock, IBB. Now, IBB was not on the regular list, but I actually have it in my favorites, which means that in live, I have it always showing up, and then I can trade it if I like it that day, if the prices are good. In the replay, you can add, that's what this A with the plus does, is you can go say, well, you know, can you add Nike to my list? And so there is Nike. We didn't used to be able to have that years ago because it was just way too much trouble. But anyways, we went ahead and did that for a few people that were trading things in the live market, and says, well, I'd like to see it in replay. And it's like, well, so we put all the basic ones in there, and then you can go grab anything you like, and it will actually automatically grab things that are in your live trading list. So you can just click one thing and there it is. So no, Nike's not the one. It's IBB. And I'm looking at the whole day here. I'm going to turn off a couple of things so it's not quite so cluttered. And yeah, we'll get rid of the volume genius. And that's about it. So we're going to keep the rest of it for now. And we're looking at the whole day because we're going to look at a bunch of stocks rather than walk you through it, which we've done a lot of times and we will do again. Today we're going to look at a whole bunch of them for those that like high speed. So here, they actually traded IBB heading down, and then they traded IBB heading up. And they caught it right there because of the purple marker. It tells you that that's a strong move. Trading both directions on the same stock, I've done that actually with this stock back in December. I remember doing that. You can do that, but the things that we teach you is that you want to start with the bigger, better, easier trade. In this case, is moving away from the benchmark, has the tint and the color and all the stuff, and this market line, that's this guy, is heading your way. So essentially everything is a good trade. And you know, when you get better at stuff, then you go, well, you know, I can trade that too. And they did, and they made money in both directions. So we're going to run through by looking at the whole day here, and these are 5-minute candles. We're going to look at a few trades. We're giving you the bulk version. So here you can catch 15 minutes of Baidu. A lot of trades you can catch 15 minutes of a trade. So that's 3 of these 5-minute candles. So here in this time, you have the color, you've got the K-band line, you're moving away from the bench, and the market's running down. So there's people that made money on that. There's people that made some money on cost today. And if you ever wonder what cost means, you can hit the thing and it says right here at Costco Wholesale. We don't put, this is daily charts. We don't put all that clutter everywhere because actually during the day, we don't care who you are. We just want to know that you're moving. And so you can see it's got the same thing where, you know, it was running down. You got good color. It's following the rules. I'm showing the ones that actually did turn into trades because they were following the rules and made money. So this started a little bit different time than the other ones. So if you missed one, you could have grabbed that one. Same stuff, right? And the market's moving down. It's got all the things moving its way. ProGo, you could have got that a little earlier if you wanted to. I'm going to put the risk zone on so you could have an idea about that. It's just like it broke the risk zone right there at just before 950. Good color. You're way in profit still, so you can actually hang on to this thing because it's still below that line. If we put on the mag line, you're nicely below. That's the blue line, nicely below the mag line until here. So that would have been a good profit one. So if you want, we can tell you how much that was. But the thing that Scott alluded to about the things we're going to trade or what we're adding to the trading system, this has been in development for quite a while. It's tough to make some of these things. It really takes a long time. So this is what we're calling the Hermes list. And yes, it's the end of the day. And but I want to show you by clicking on, these are the stocks that the system thought would be the better trades. So Apple, if it went red, and it would have fit the rules somewhere in here. Baidu we looked at already. So around here somewhere, it would have said get in, and then it would have told you to get out, actually. Costco, it picked that one. It liked Facebook for the green side. Now it picks the stuff here early. It doesn't pick it at the end of the day when there's no opportunity. It picks it early. Goldman Sachs, it liked it at one point for, I'm guessing, red. Let me just look here. Yes, it liked it for red. And if you back up, you'll see these things coming on and off. IBB, it liked it for the red only side. So here the human got in and bought, you know, the green side as well. LB, which we didn't look at, it liked it, and you know there was a run in there. That might not have been the best one, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. But yeah, here's the, you know, the ProGo, nice, beautiful run, and SLB, which it liked for red, and it really didn't do much. It barely would have got you involved. It might not have actually put you in a trade on that actually. But the idea is people are already using the Hermes list before it's finished, and they're using it as a tool to do shortlisting because there's a lot of work that got done to make the Hermes list, because it's meant actually to make more than 10% if you want. You can have half your trade get out at a 10% profit, or if it doesn't like it anymore, it'll start saying, hey, I'm out of it, I didn't like it. And then you can also have it tell you about the longer trades. So like ProGo, you would have probably you would have got the 30% out of that. Now, I don't have pet peeves. I have things that I think are bad habits for people that I notice and I talk about. Because, hey, it's not me, it's whatever. It doesn't bother me if you do it, but it may bother you or your neighbor. Might get bothered, not you personally. The thing is that people are getting, and you see this in our Facebook page, they're getting profitable trades. Sometimes they get paid the 10% in 1 minute, and some of them have set their profit target to 15%. And we still encounter, you know, especially with the newer people that come on, they say, well, I want to make more, and then they get into all these crappy trades that are not good trades, but it's like, I want more is what's driving it. Greed, you know, is actually what's driving them to get into trades where they end up losing money, which is kind of ridiculous. But greed is not a cognitive function. It's semi-cognitive, but it's mostly emotional. So it's not well thought through. So here you are, you have 10% in 10 minutes, and then there's people saying, that's not enough. And I go, and what planet do you live on? What is 20% is so common out in the street that you're going to complain about 10 in 10 minutes with, like, you don't have to lift steel girders, you're just, you know, clicking a few things. Anyways, so that's my comment of the month, because I've had a conversation with somebody and they were, you know, drilling hard to get more, and I'm like, wow, you know, the bank will give you 10% in 3 years. How's that? And that's it for me today.
Awesome. Thank you very much for that, Alan. And could we go to one of the trades? I'm thinking in particular the GoPro, and
Sure.
just to let us get our kind of greed cleared out. And if we got in relatively near the top and relatively near the end, what would that have been?
Sure, yeah, and I'll take you to the place, because like I said, Hermes not finished, but it would have been around here somewhere. Let's just say there, you know, be a little pessimistic, that it would have got you in. See, what it does is it's doing the thinking. And so here we are, you know, it's down a little bit, it's okay, now you're in profit, now moving forward. So you would have got your 10% right there already. And there's, you know, things about Fridays and Mondays. So you would have been out of your 10, but you might have still been holding on the 30% run, because it hasn't lost money. Like when it came up here, it's at where you started essentially with commission and time loss. So you're still holding the other half, looking for the big win. And it's taking its time. You can see it's just kind of struggling along, and then boom, there it happens. So you would have been out. Now, You don't have to, because, and there's lots of reasons why Hermes will not trade your account for you. Won't happen. It will give you alerts and say, hey, I got out of it. Then you do what you want. So if you look at it and you say, well, I haven't crossed the mag line yet, why would I get out? And of course, there's going to be a bunch of people that would say that. And I'd be one of them. It's like, well, you're way above the mag. So you're at 60% profit, 70, 80. And we know from before that it stops about there somewhere.
What a day.
What a day, yeah. And on Fridays, you can actually make 200% if you're trading that day's options. Like Thursdays, you can make 100, 200% because the option price doesn't have much time in it. So it doesn't cost a lot.
Right. So if we buy cheap options and they move a little bit, it can easily go from 50 cents to 75 cents.
Right. And so my friend from high school, who's been with me for a few years doing all this, emptied his account, and because he likes to do that from time to time, but he left 5,000 in there. And since that day, which was last week, his account is now 29,000.
Wow.
Yeah, it's because he knows how to double it within a day, because we just showed you. And you know, there was I mentioned, I think in the last one that yesterday, was it, the Tesla trade that I was in?
Yep.
If I didn't have somewhere else to go, I would have hung on to it, and it went from $3 to $5.89 or something like that. And there was no reason to get out of it, really. And that's almost double right there. And that was a Wednesday or Thursday? Anyways.
Thursday. Yeah. Cool. Well, thank you very much for sharing that with us, Alan. So we're continuing to look at ways to improve your potential profits as you day trade. And it boils down to having the right tools, to having the right education, and then applying that, practicing that, proving to yourself that it works. And that's why we give all of our new students a 30-day free trial of the software so they can kick the tires and find out for themselves whether or not it's going to work for them. So thank you for joining us, everybody. Hope you got a lot out of this, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.